Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing these 3 Halloween eye makeup looks right here. So if you want to see how to do them, just keep on watching. Okay, here is look number 1. We've got a cute little ghost in the crease. Very simple eye look. So let's get started. Okay, so for look number 1, this is going to be really simple as far as the eyeshadow. We're just going to do a matte color kind of all over the lid and slightly up into the crease. And for the eyeshadow, I'm going to take the shade Stone from the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette. And for this step, you can use really any eyeshadow color. I'm just using one that's fairly neutral, but you can do a bright pop of color, whatever you would like. So I'm going in with a Sigma E35 brush and a little bit of that stone color, and I'm just buffing that all over the lid. Just kind of like a light wash of color. Just doing a nice little dusting. You could honestly even leave this bare, but I want a little bit of definition. I'm running that same color on that lower lash line just to make it a little cohesive. Now I'm going to go in with the MAC Liquid Lash Liner in the shade Point Black, which is a very dark matte black. And I'm just going to do a basic winged liner. I'm not going to go too thick or anything because I don't want this to be the focus of the look. Okay, so we just have a very simple wing liner. You can go as thick or as thin as you would like. I'm just going to kind of leave it at this, and now we're going to do the ghost. And for that, I'm going to use my Glisten Cosmetics wet liner in the shade Milk, which is just a white. But you can use whatever white liquid liner you have that works really well, isn't super patchy, and is very pigmented. Okay, so now with that product, I'm just going to kind of create a cut crease shape. And I feel like I'm going to get out of focus if I do this, but you'll still be able to see kind of what I'm doing. So here's kind of like my rough guide. So I'm going to bring this down to a point. And this is the Glisten Cosmetics number 2 brush. Then I'm going to start to thicken these up. Okay, I'm just going in for a little bit more product. I'm going to start to make this more opaque. And then really like perfect the shape. Okay, now we're going to draw some little arms. And again, hopefully I don't get out of focus. Kind of just like that. And since these are water activated, I'm just going in with a little bit of setting spray on a brush to kind of perfect it and make it nice and even and smooth. For the eyes and the mouth, I'm going to go in with the wet liner in the shade Cola, which is the black, but you could just use a liquid liner. Okay, so I want to keep this as clean as possible, so I'm actually going to go in with a bobby pin that I kind of stretched out, and I'm going to use the little ball at the end just to make it even on both eyes. So I just dipped that bobby pin in that product, and I'm going to do 2 eyes. So I kind of first created a circle, and now I'm going to create an oval. This is just going to be my rough guide. I'm going to perfect it with a brush. And then the mouth. Okay, so you can see I have kind of like a messy rough guide. So this is another Glisten Cosmetics brush. It's kind of rubbed off, but I think it's either like 1 or 10, but it's their extremely tiny one. And I'm going to perfect this. So I'm going to get really close up to my mirror. Okay, so here's how that's looking. I'm going to pop on some mascara lashes and show you this entire look completed. Okay, and here is the ghost look completed. I just popped on some lashes, bottom lash mascara, and Fenty Diamond Balm on the inner corner. But here is that look completed. It's so cute. I love a little ghosty for Halloween. But yeah, I hope you guys like this look. Now let's move on to the next one. Okay, so here is look number 2. This one was definitely a recreation from another artist, which I will link down below. I found this on Pinterest and it is just so cute. And surprisingly, the cat was a lot easier to do than I thought it would be. So yeah, if you want to see how to do this cute little cat, then just keep it watching. All right, so I just removed the previous look. Now for look number 2, again, I just went in with a little bit of concealer just to kind of conceal that redness from removing my makeup. We're going to keep the eyeshadow again fairly simple and focus more on the cat of this look. So we're going to start out with that stone shade yet again from the Natasha palette. And then with a Sigma E35 brush, just like we did before, except I'm going to focus this more into the crease. We're going to do a very light cut crease with this look. So I'm kind of just putting that directly in that sort of socket area and then blending upwards. Now I'm going to take the shade Silhouette, and with a tiny pencil brush, I'm going to kind of create a cut crease right where that cat's going to sit. Almost giving it kind of like a little perch to sit on. And now with a bigger pencil brush and that stone shade, I'm going to slightly diffuse that out. When my eyes are open, you can hardly see it, but there's just a little bit more definition right there. And then I'm going to take the shade Muse. The shade does apply better with your finger, but I want to kind of keep it controlled and not overlap this cut crease that we created, so I'm going to use a brush for the most part. I'm just really packing that. I'm not swiping, otherwise that glitter is going to go everywhere. Now the hard part, we're going to attempt to do this cat. So I'm going to take that same wet liner in the shade Cola, which was that black. Okay, so I got very little on my brush. I'm using that number 2 brush again, and I'm not going to be able to talk through this. I'm going to have to really concentrate. So just watch what I do, and I'm going to try my best. Okay, so now I'm going to do the whiskers. I'm sorry if I keep getting out of focus. Okay, now that we have a kind of the general guide for the shape of the cat, I'm going to re-darken that little cut crease shape that we did right there. Just because now that I'm seeing the black of the cat, this just needs to be a little bit darker. So I'm actually just going in with a angled brush and just recreating that line. And I'm not going to blend it out as much either. Okay, I'm going to try and do the paws, and hopefully this doesn't mess this up, but I'm switching to that really tiny brush again. I'm going to keep referencing my photo. Okay, I'm going to try and do the same thing on the other side. Okay, I'm just going to keep my head down and perfect that and let it dry so it doesn't transfer. Okay, so here's where we're sitting right now. I want this right here to be a little bit darker, so I'm actually going in with a black shadow and fading underneath of that cat. Very, very lightly. Okay, so I'm hoping this works, but I'm going to take the About Face, the Fluid Eye Paint in the shade, it doesn't say, it's this green one. And I'm going to take that tiny little pencil brush again, and I'm hoping to use just the tip of this brush to create the little circles of the eye. And based on the reference photo, these eyes are pretty big, that's why I'm using a pencil brush. Oh, that was perfect. Okay, so I cleaned off that tiny little brush, and I'm going to do some light reflection in the eye, so I'm going to go in with that white liner again. And I have very little on my brush. I'm going to kind of do diagonals like that. And then I'll fix that where it got onto the black. Okay, and now with that tiny brush again in the black, I'm going to kind of stabilize my arm. I'm going to do a straight line right down the middle with that tiny brush. Okay, this is like my favorite look I've ever done. This is so cute. I'm going to pop on some lashes and mascara and I'll show you the completed look. Okay, I popped on my lashes and mascara and I did put a nude on my waterline because my eyes are a little red. But here is the cat look completed and this is absolutely my favorite. This was so fun to do and I definitely want to do more looks like this, but yeah, here is look number 2. Okay, so look number 3, I wanted to go a little bit more gory, a little bit more spooky, but I also wanted to keep it simple and beginner friendly. So I came up with this look right here. So it's kind of just like a graphic liner with some bloody scab and there's some stitches in there. So if you want to see how to do this look, then just keep watching. Okay, so look number 3 is going to be, again, very simple with the actual eyeshadow. I'm just putting a little bit of a powder foundation kind of all over just to really conceal everything. And I saved this one for last because my eye is going to be irritated and we're using blood anyway, so it works out. So I'm going in with that black wet liner again and we're going to create a sort of graphic liner. Again, I'm just going to try and be quiet and just do this. Kind of like that, and then I'm just going to perfect it. Okay, now that we have a rough guide, it doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to put some eyeshadow and blood on top of it. And for the eyeshadows, I'm going to go in with the Morphe Abby Roberts palette, and I'm going to be using both the brighter red and that darker red. I'm probably just going to mix them together. So with a tiny pencil brush, I'm just going to go over the black. I'm going to use just the darker color right now. I'm just doing sort of back and forth motions right over top of that black just to make it look a little bit more irritated. Yeah, I'm just strictly using the dark red. Ignore what I said about the brighter red. And I'm doing this all around that entire eyeliner. And now with a clean fluffy brush, I'm just going to go along all of that just to diffuse it out a little bit more. I'm not really being too careful with this at this point. You can see now that's really like fading outwards. Okay, now with that black wet liner and that same brush, we're going to create a couple stitches. So I'm first going to do the black. And I don't want to do too many of these because I don't want it to cover up the blood. And I want it to be fairly thick. Okay, so I'm just going to do that right there. I'm going to let this dry and I'm going to do the lower lash line. Okay, so for this, I'm going to take my Fenty Beauty eyeliner in the shade Cherry Punk, which is a really bright red. And I'm going to run that all into my waterline and kind of smudge it on the lower lash line as well. I'm going all the way to that inner corner and outer corner. And now with a Sigma E20 brush in that dark red, I'm just going to pack that right on top, all the way to that inner corner. And then with that clean brush, we're going to buff out the lower lash line. Okay, now with that smaller brush and the white wet liner, we're going to go in the middle of these stitches and create a white line. It's going to give it more like a metallic effect, kind of like how a stitch would be. Alright, next I'm going to go in with Bloody Scab. This is from just Spirit Halloween, just super cheap. It's just like a thicker blood, so it's not going to drip all down my face. It's going to kind of stay where you want it to while still giving you that bloody effect. And I've never actually used this before, so I have it on a liner brush right now, but I might have to switch brushes. I'm just going to kind of press over the black line. Yeah, I might need a different brush. And I'm going to go a little bit bigger than the line, that way you can really see it. Yeah, let me switch brushes. Okay, I switched to a denser angled brush, so I can really kind of pack that on there. Oh yeah, that's better. And I'm just going to go all the way across, really packing that on. Try not to overlap with the staples though. So I feel like more of this pressing motion works. Okay, so now that I kind of have my first round of that, I'm going to go in with a little bit more because I want it to be really like thick and chunky right where that line is. I'm going to put a little bit right through here. Okay, now going back in with that liner I had in the first place, just to really kind of lay that on. Okay, so I think I'm happy with that. I don't want to go too overboard. So I'm going to pop on some lashes and mascara and let you see this third and final look completed. Okay, so lashes are on and this is the third and final look completed. So you can see this one's a little bit more gory, a little bit more spooky Halloween. The other one's more fun and cute. So yeah, I hope you guys like all three videos. I try to do a good variety of kind of what they were. I can maybe get up 1 or 2 more videos before Halloween. So if there's any type of looks you want to see, just let me know. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed and I will see you in my next one.